Now, I am Perpetual Fast Repeater. Amidst tight security, delegates of the Oyo State chapter of the All Progressives Congress have elected former Senate leader Teslim Folarin as flag bearer for the 2022 governorship race. Senator Folarin polled a total of 954 votes to defeat runner-up and former Deputy Governor Operations of the nation's Apex Bank, Adebayo Adilabu, who managed to secure 327 votes. In his acceptance speech, the Oyo APC governorship candidate restated his undiluted resolve to rescue the state from what he termed alleged maladministration by the PDP-led government.
Mine is just to make sure that somebody emerge, someone have to emerge for the benefit of our party, because I am for the party, not for any aspirant. So now that he has been announced as the chairman, as the person that's going to be our flag bearer, I use this medium to appreciate everybody, and most especially you, the press.
To the Almighty Allah, all thanks to the delegates who have been in town for the past 2 days. We couldn't hold the Congress yesterday, so it spilled over till today. And some of them had to travel 4 hours to get to Ibadan, so they slept here in Ibadan. So gratitude to them. Akitola is my senior brother. I'm sure we'll have a chat. And the next, we'll visit all of them in the coming days, coming weeks. And because we need to be united to take these guys out. And trust me, we'll do that.
In the same vein, Senator Teslim Folarin has debunked a news report of an assassination attempt by him. Shina Pella, in a video clip, had alleged that the Oyo Central Senator sent hired killers to assassinate him. Folarin, in a statement made available to journalists in Ibadan, said he is not an assassin and he does not operate a death squad. Therefore, he could not have sent hired killers after Shina Pella or anyone. In recent times, politics and elections have been seriously monetized. Primaries conducted by political parties have been largely trailed by accusations of bribery and heavy monetization. The political class appears to hold the belief that votes are commodities that could be bought off from the electorates. Once paid for, the electorates are robbed of the power to demand accountability. Despite the negative consequences of selling votes, it has been growing at an alarming rate. To help examine the reasons for vote buying and implications for the new democracy, I'm joined via phone by Adeni Yukunu, a public affairs analyst. Adeni Yukunu, hello, good to have you on board.
Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Well, we're looking at the monetization of election in Nigeria. What exactly is the cause? Let's start from there. Why do we have this going on?
Well, I think that we're going to see money politics for many years to come, because you cannot single-handedly look at politics to talk about why there is so much monetization of the electoral process without looking at the society itself. We're talking about Nigeria, where people live on less than $1 a day, and let us even increase it to $1 or $2 a day. So that means 1,000 naira for 3 square meals. We have not talked about other utilities. It therefore means that the average person in the country is living just down under the poverty line. And that itself will most definitely affect other areas of their lives going into the election. That is one part. Secondly is the fact that a lot of Nigerians, apart from being poor physically, are also mentally bereft of the dignity of self and the cogent understanding that should prevent them from diving into where money is at the expense of their future. That is two. Then thirdly, the leadership of the country do not quite understand that we have come to a point where we have to reorder all of our strategies of engaging with the citizens so that we can ameliorate the issues or incidences of poverty. So I think that there's a whole lot we must still do for us to fight that. Education is another thing. You can imagine if a number of people who are in universities and other higher institutions in the country are in school, Don't forget that most of them will form the crop of supporters leading to major elections. If they're in school, that means a percentile of them are not also going to be available as tools in the hands of politicians who are devious and desperate. So the structures in society, the structures are already affected, and that has become a spillover onto other areas, one of which, as you rightly put it, is election and the monetization politics.
All right, you mentioned three things. First, you talked about the fact that a lot of Nigerians live below the poverty line, and you also talked about our values, and you mentioned leadership issues. Let's take you on the first one, talking about the fact that a lot of Nigerians are living below the poverty line. How can we turn this around? Do we have the resources to turn things around in this country?
Oh, most definitely. We have a lot of resources in the country. For instance, if I took you back to the years that the current PDP candidate is in power, when he fell out with former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Obasanjo said, and I quote, that the money Atiku has stolen is enough to feed 300 million Nigerians. End quote. If I left that now and I go to what an accountant general of the Federation stole, 80 billion naira too. If I left there, I go to where the NDDC leadership happens to be, where they stole over 47 billion. That is 4 or 3. If I go to another one and I come to the money stolen according to the EFCC, by, of course, the accountant general of the River State government, that is another one. That should be in excess of 300 or 400 billion that cannot be accounted for. And on top of that, the former governor of ZAMFARA State has been arrested because he colluded with the former accountant, the suspended accountant general of the Federation. If these monies that people have stolen were properly channeled in the form of welfare, Nigeria is the only country that told a lie about providing welfare for people during pandemic. And up until this time, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, ZINC, has not been able to give names and house addresses, and Emefiele, that is desirous of becoming president, has not been able to provide that. So if you look at the monies that have been stolen, these monies are well enough to take care of the needs of Nigerians, to increase workers' salaries, to pay lecturers so that they can get back to school, and make our roads such that we can drive on. So if indeed the structures of society in terms of fiscal finance is prudent, then at the same time it is in recognition of new frontiers such that we can create jobs. Now we're talking about some things that are very evolutionary. University education is important, but if we talk about the tech industry, we have jobs that people could only be trained for 6 months.
All right, let me come in here. Let's get back to the conversation talking about monetization of election. What can be done to address the situation? I mean, is the EFCC doing enough? What can be done to address the situation?
Okay, the EFCC is a toothless mongrel, not a bulldog, because a bulldog has the canines in place. So the EFCC is a toothless mongrel. Mongrel is found in this part of the world more in numbers. And the EFCC is such as I've described, because it seems as if when some people commit financial crimes, the EFCC looks the other way. Now, we have 400 people that were helping Boko Haram to launder money. They've not been arrested. So in the first place, the EFCC is out of this. It is also sad that INEC, that should be an unbiased umpire, has to shift the date for primaries and all of that by 6 days because of the APC. So I think that we're in limbo now. It is Nigerians that will take the battle of changing money politics into their hands and stand together as one against those who buy people over when the election cycle is here. So I don't have trust in the EFCC. I also do not trust, because the EFCC doesn't respect procedures. The same EFCC that went to OKOROCHA's house without an arrest warrant. If somebody violates the condition of his or her bail, you get a new court order that validates your arrest. So the EFCC,
all right, thank you so much.
Toothless. So talking about
thank you, Adeni Yukono. This is a good place to anchor. Thank you so much for your thoughts. We do appreciate every one of them.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Yes, we've been talking with Adeni Yukono, public affairs analyst, on the monetization of elections in Nigeria. And moving on now, the Federal High Court in Abuja has remanded a former governor of Imo State, Rochas OKOROCHA, in the court study of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Justice Iyan Gekwo ordered his remand on Monday following the arraignment of the former governor in court by the anti-graft agency. He also adjourned the case until Tuesday for a hearing of the bail application filed by OKOROCHA, who currently represents the Imo West Senatorial District in the National Assembly. The former governor is being tried on a 17-count charge to the tune of 2.9 trillion naira filed against him by the anti-graft agency. He was accused of conspiring with others, including a member of the APC and 5 companies to steal from public coffers, although he has since denied any wrongdoing. In his response, he pleaded not guilty to the charges. The second defendant in the suit, Anyim Chineye, as well as the 5 companies, also pleaded not guilty to the charges. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested a former governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz YARI. Sources within the anti-graft agency said the former governor was arrested for his alleged role in the 84 billion naira fraud involving a former accountant general of the Federation, Ahmad Idris. YARI was said to have been picked up at about 5 p.m. yesterday for allegedly benefiting to the tune of 22 billion naira from the 84 billion naira which the former AGF reportedly paid to one Akindele. According to the sources, the anti-graft agency also arrested one Anthony Yaro, who is the chairman and managing director of Finex Professional, the company through which former Governor YARI allegedly benefited from the fund. YARI's arrest came barely a day after he won the ticket of the All Progressives Congress APC to contest for one of the 3 senatorial district seats of Zamfara State in the National Assembly. The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has warned the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike and his Imo State counterpart Hope Uzodimma against the secret plot to cede some communities in Imo State to Rivers State. The group alleged that there was an illegal undocumented treaty to cede communities of Ohaji Egbema local government area in Imo to Rivers via a crooked financial inducement by Wike. In a statement, IPOB's Media and Publicity Secretary, Ima Powerful, warned of catastrophic consequences and futuristic destructive effects that would follow such development if allowed to sail through. The group also advised the affected Imo communities not to be enticed by the pecuniary inducement that would be attached to such concession, warning that they would regret it in the end. It listed some of the affected communities to include Umwapo community, Awari community, Ihe community, Obeti community, and Asa community. It's a wrap on this segment, and coming up after now is entertainment business. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment Business. I am Chioma Amari Blum. The Paramount and Skydance film Top Gun Maverick generated $124 million internationally, bringing its total opening weekend haul to $248 million. The prolific actor, who has made a name for himself as a fearless stuntman, has generated more than $4.2 billion at the domestic box office since 1981, but had previously never had a film open to more than $65 million. Top Gun Maverick is the highest-grossing debut in Cruise's 40-year career and his first to surpass $100 million on opening weekend. War of the Worlds, which opened to $64 million in 2005, previously stood as Cruise's biggest opening weekend. The studio expected the film to reach $151 million for the 4-day Memorial Day weekend. The film could have a strong hold over the next few weeks as it faces limited box office competition until the June 10 release of Universal's Jurassic World Dominion. And away from that, now to music. Hypnosis Song Management has acquired Justin Timberlake's song catalog, but financial details of the deal weren't disclosed. Hypnosis, the Notting Hill, London-based company founded in 2018 by former music manager Merck Mercuriadis, called Timberlake the iconic American singer, songwriter, record producer, and actor who is one of the most influential artists of the last 20 years and named by Billboard as the best performing male solo artist in top 40 contemporary hit radio history. Hypnosis said Friday that it has bought 100% of all of Justin Timberlake's copyrights, ownership and financial interest of the writer and publisher's share of public performance income and the catalogue of music compositions written by Justin Timberlake. Also included in the sales are the worldwide administration rights to the compositions, subject to the remaining term of Universal Music's administration rights, which expire in 2025. Hypnosis has been buying music publishing catalogs or stakes in them, which has been an area of much deal-making in the music space. The firm's activity has included transactions for a 50% stake in Neil Young's catalog, as well as hits performed by Rihanna and Shakira, amongst others. Timberlake's worldwide music sales are currently in excess of 150 million, including 88 million as a solo artist and 70 million with NSYNC, Hypnosis said. The acquisition was made on behalf of Hypnosis Songs Capital, a partnership between Hypnosis Song Management and funds managed by private equity firm Blackstone. And it's a wrap on entertainment business. I am Chioma Amaribulam. Up next is sports business with Samson Oloyede.
Sony is projecting it will pocket $300 million from PC gaming titles in the coming fiscal year. The tech giant, which reported $80 million in PC net sales in fiscal year 2021, is projecting a significant jump thanks to its agreement in January to acquire Bungie, the original creator of Halo and current developer of Destiny, in a deal valued at $3.6 billion. The deal, which will see Bungie continue to independently develop and publish games, is expected to close this year. Sony expects roughly 15% to 20% of its releases in fiscal year ahead to be on PC. By 2025, the conglomerate expects that figure to reach around 30%. Despite the desire to embrace PC gaming, Sony has only announced one upcoming title for PC so far, which is Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, which has yet to receive a release date. Sony, deepening its ties in PC gaming, allows the Tokyo-based company to expand its reach in a global gaming market that is projected to reach $222 billion in 2022. And in the world of football, Manchester United generated $192 million in revenue in fiscal third quarter, up from $149 million in revenue for the same period last year, despite lackluster results on the pitch this past season. The club, owned by the Glazer family, however, experienced a net loss of $35 million compared to $23 million in third quarter 2021. Commercial revenue reached $83 million in fiscal third quarter, a 12.9% increase year over year. Broadcasting revenue hit $65 million, down from $74 million in fiscal third quarter 2021. Match day revenue was $45 million compared to $2 million for the same period last year. And finally, on sports business at this time, UK retailer Marks & Spencer has announced a new joint partnership with English football's governing Football Association, the Scottish Football Association, Football Association of Wales, and the Irish Football Association. The multi-year collective deal, focused on the brand's M&S food division, includes both fiscal inventory and content integrations. Primarily, stars of the English, Scottish, Welsh, and Northern Irish national teams will be taking part in initiatives promoting a healthy diet. The first purpose-driven marketing campaign, which will launch in July, with activations and promotions also taking place in M&S retail locations built around the healthy lifestyle of football players. The deal with the FA has seen the installation of a branded smoothie bar at the England's team's purpose-built St. George's Park training facility. And that's it on sports business. Up next is Stock Market Report.
Hello, welcome to Stock Market Report. I am Frank Komalape. Nigerian equities market extended the bearish sentiment on Monday as the NGX all-share index declined by 0.58% to settle at 53,772.35 points, as 23 stocks posted gains while 17 stocks declined. On the gainers list, while Trans-Nationwide Express and Nigeria Police Force Microfinance Bank led the chart with 7 kobo and 16 kobo each to close at 78 kobo and 1 naira 80 kobo. UAC and Jais Bank and Livestock lost more than 9% each and 6.75 to close at 11 naira 50 kobo and 85 kobo for Jais Bank, and Livestock closing at 1 naira 60 kobo. On the losers chart now, price drop in the shares of Presco, University Press and Wema Bank and others dragged the index down by 312.95 basis points, while shares of FT and Cocoa lost about 3 kobo to close at 32 kobo. May and Baker lost 33 kobo to close at 4 naira 1 kobo respectively. Well, for further analysis, I'm being joined by Mr. Oyo APC, MD Atlas Portfolios Limited. He joins us via the phone call now. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure having me on board yet again. Thank you so much, Mr. Frank.
Okay. So the equities market extended the bearish sentiment on Monday as the index declined by 0.58%, settling above 53,000 points. So let me ask you, what were the factors behind the negative sentiment today?
Okay, well, the major factor that brought the market down today was Presco. Presco, over the past 4 weeks, had rallied pretty well. And for market watchers, we're looking at it as, is it not doing way above its fundamentals, but also not considering the fact that it's a stock that is not very, very liquid. One felt, well, let's see how it push. But today, eventually, caved way and came down, losing 18 naira, whooping 18 naira, closed at 160, 162 naira, as at market close. Another stock that also impacted market negatively was GT. GTCO also lost minimally though, but the volume today was huge. For me, when I see stock trading volumes, even if it comes and it shows there is hope. Hope in the sense that a lot of investors still have belief in that stock, probably because of its fundamentals or potentially what one expects to see in it. And if you look at the gainers are not the kind of stocks that would impact market positively. For example, we have Trans Express gaining points. We had Nigerian Police Force gaining points. We had Jais Bank gaining points. We had Royal Exchange, Royal X gaining points. You know, we can see these are stocks that are called the small caps gaining points. So that's why the impact of Presco and the impact of GT had more impact negatively than the ones gained by the small cap stocks.
So for today, like you said, shares of Presco lost 18 naira earlier to close at 162 naira. So one would have thought that the impressive financial year 2021 and the first quarter result could have made a difference. So what informs this trend really? What would you say was the major for the loss that was witnessed today in shares of Presco?
Okay, for Presco, the price that it's trading at 160, almost 200 naira. I can assure you, the fundamentals of the Q1 had already been reflected in that price. And it's not as if, and we also think that the dividend has been paid. So it's not as if there's any strong or any new information coming on board for Presco. All right? So I see Presco losing points even throughout this week. At 162, I think is a little over, is pricey, and I don't think investors want to play in that sector up until they get a little more comfortable. And if that comfort will be seen end of this week or early part next week.
Okay, let's look at some smaller capitalized stocks like MPF Microfinance Bank, UACN, Jais Bank, and of course Livestock witnessed a jump in their share price today. So, so what informed this rally in this more capitalized stock?
For UACN, I recall last week when we had this discussion, I mentioned that UACN was a stock on my radar. For UACN, well, the choice of UACN is, for me, is more around the technical. I looked at the price that it had done in the past, and then I felt UACN at 10 naira, at a little below 10 naira, below 11 naira, doing 11, doing 10, 15 last week. It didn't have any other place to go to but to go up. UACN should actually be trading around 12 naira right now, between 12 and 13 naira. If you look at the contemporary of UACN, Unilever is probably touching 15 already. So I see them looking at each other to trade. So if Unilever is doing 1480, 1485, and UACN is doing 1050, of course, there is no other place to go but to go up. So that's why I mentioned UACN last week. And which other one? You mentioned UACN and which other topic now?
Well, pressed for time. I think we'll just have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi is the Managing Director, Atlas Portfolios Limited. Thank you for your time on business.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, and that's it with the stock market report. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape. The rest of the news continues in a moment.
And it's a wrap on Business Now here on IBrandTV Lagos. Thanks very much for watching. I am Michael Nas.